cyerekezo 2050. Radio Imanzi 105 n'igice kimwe FM.
We got you updated. This is Radio Imanzi News in English.
You are tuned to Radio Imanzi, broadcasting from Kigali. Here is the news in English, brought to you by Fiona Umuganwa. The headlines. RWANDA Biomedical Center has started administering the fourth jab of the COVID-19 vaccine in the country. The United Kingdom has opened Chauvining scholarship applications for Rwandans to do a master's degree at UK universities. A London museum has announced it has agreed to return to Nigeria artifacts looted in the 19th century from the Kingdom of Benin. Welcome back. Now news in digital. The RWANDA Biomedical Center has started administering the fourth jab of the COVID-19 vaccine in the country. According to Julian Niyingabira, the Rwanda Health Communication Center Division Manager, the move is aimed at boosting the immunity of the population because it often wanes as time goes on and thus needs to be enhanced. In this campaign, RBC is initially mainly targeting people at a higher risk of the virus, including the elderly 60 years and above, as well as those with weak immune systems. However, the general adult population of the country is also welcome to take the shot. The United Kingdom has opened Chauvining scholarship applications for Rwandans to do a master's degree at UK universities. The scholarships offer full financial support for a year-long master's degree for people who have the commitment and skills required to create positive change and can show how a UK master's will help them do their job. The Chauvining Scholarship is an initial scholarship funded by the British Foreign and Commonwealth Office that selects foreign students with leadership qualities study at universities in the United Kingdom. Chauvining represents the very best of the UK, welcoming people from across the world to study, grow and thrive, according to head of scholarships at the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office in Naomi Rain. 9 Rwandans are studying on the scholarship in the UK this year, and applications for next year are open until 1st November. Universities listed as partners to the scholarship scheme include Cambridge, Bristol, Durham University, and the London School of Economics. The Rwanda Environment Management Authority, REMA, has said there is a need for environmentally friendly buildings in order to achieve sustainable development due to rapid population growth. Currently, the rate of population growth is accompanied by an increase in the number of residential and service buildings being constructed across the country. According to Shawe Rachel, REMA's Director for Environmental Education and Mainstreaming, buildings built in the country should be audited to ensure that environmental protection standards are met so that the country can achieve sustainable development. According to Haruna Shimimana, the Housing Inspection Engineer and Rwanda Housing Authority, the law for buildings under construction in the country has begun to be enforced. Before any construction work begins, the owners must first present housing plan documents to the authorities to demonstrate that they will be built in an environmentally friendly manner as required by the law. The The government of Rwanda has announced a hike in fuel prices. The change yet again reflecting a sharp increase which is attributed to global disruptions. The price of petrol jumped from 1,460 Rwandan francs to 1,609, while a litre of diesel jumped from 1,503 to 1,607. The changes were announced by the Minister of Infrastructure, Dr. Ernest Nsabimana. Hirgwe Felix has this report.
Every 2 months, the government revises fuel prices. Dr. Nsabimana said that nothing has changed much on the issues that the global fuel crisis, particularly the Russia-Ukraine conflict, has affected an already fragile situation left behind by the COVID-19 pandemic. Dr. Nsabimana said that the fuel prices could have considerably increased if the government had not put an incentive of 10 billion Rwandan francs to ensure that the change doesn't affect the cost of living for the citizens. The main reason for this hike is the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, which has disrupted global oil markets and prices. From February, when the war started, oil prices had increased by 2/4. In February, a barrel of crude oil was at 57 cents, and by the end of July, it was already on 97 cents, which goes to show that prices have been on an upward trend since February and even before that during the COVID-19. He explained that for the oil to be shipped from the source to Rwanda, it takes about 2 months on the way. And in the recent years, the cost of freight increased considerably due to global market disruptions, all of which play into the pump prices. Other factors that led to global increase in fuel prices include the cost of extraction, processing, transportation, and insurance on of high sea. Means that the countries like Rwanda, which are landlocked, suffer the brunt of the global crisis more. Minister Nsabimana said there is a hope that prices will stabilize or even go down in August if there are no other disruptions, though the situation remains volatile. An example he gave are the tensions between the US and China over Taiwan, which could also affect global prices. Without the government subsidy, the officials said that the price of diesel would have increased by 254 Rwandan francs to reach 1,757 Rwandan francs, while a liter of petrol would have increased by 307 Rwandan francs to 1,767 Rwandan francs. 2 months ago, when new prices were announced, the government had put in an incentive of 13 billion Rwandan francs. This time around, the subsidy of almost 10 billion francs was put in by the government to keep the prices a bit low. Minister Nsabimana said the decision to incentivize was taken to mitigate the impact of increasing fuel prices on commodity prices as the result of inflation, which could negatively impact the speed of Rwanda's economic recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Dr. Jean Chrysostome Ngabitsinze, said that the main reason the government puts a fuel subsidy is to ensure that the price of goods and transport fares don't increase. The government incentive is aimed at absorbing the shocks and the prices change, so we believe that the commodity prices should not increase because of this change. He said they will continue monitoring to ensure that the traders don't take advantage of this. Dr. Ngabitsinze also added that the government will continue to support specific sectors being affected by the change in fuel prices.
Young people in Nyamagabe district have been urged to participate in agriculture and livestock activities in a professional manner because the sector offers many opportunities and does not require much investment. Some young people remarked on this, rallying their peers by demonstrating how agricultural and animal husbandry projects they initiated allow them to develop. Statistics show that majority of population engaged in agricultural activities are over the age of 55, despite the fact that the majority of the country's population is younger. Habimana Tadi, Deputy Mayor of Nyamagabe District in charge of economic development, says farming is not just for adults and that young people should get involved. The Nyagatare District authorities have asked residents to stop burying people in their backyards. Residents of Nyagatare say that housing development in the district is slow because some families are still burying their loved ones in their yards, which also affects the sale of plots in the district. Matiko Gonzak, the district's deputy mayor in charge of economic development, say that burying people in places other than public cemeteries is not permitted. However, in 2012, the parliament passed amendments to a law governing cemeteries, not compelling families with enough land to bury their dead at public cemeteries. The Organization and Use of Cemeteries Act of 2001 did not have such provisions, but the amendment indicates that families should first seek district authorization to bury their loved ones in family land.
Economic news is a regular feature on Radio Imanzi.
Now the RWANDA Stock Exchange Market Report. The trading session recorded a turnover of 7,646,400 Rwandan francs worth of bonds traded in one deal on the fixed income market, while the equities market remained quiet. The equities counters closed with Bralirwa at 160 Rwandan francs, Bank of Kigali at 272 Rwandan francs, I&M Bank at 43 Rwandan francs, Simirwa at 120 Rwandan francs, MTN Rwanda at 177 Rwandan francs, Equity Bank at 440 Rwandan francs, Kenya Commercial Bank at 370 Rwandan francs, National Media Group at 1,200 Rwandan francs, Uchumi Supermarket at 104 Rwandan francs, and RH Buffalo closed the counter at 526 Rwandan francs as the market closed. The currency market review of today. The Kenyan shilling buying price was 8.5 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 8.7 Rwandan francs. Tanzanian shilling buying price was 0.43 Rwandan francs and the selling price was 0.44 Rwandan francs. Ugandan shilling buying price was 0.262 and the selling price was 0.267. Burundian franc buying price was 0.49 and the selling price was 0.5. The US dollar buying price was 1,019 and the selling price was 1,040. The British pound buying price was 1,231 and the selling price was 1,256. The euro buying price was 1,038 and the selling price was 1,059.
Some items of international news on Radio Imanzi.
Moving on ahead with some items of international news, Tanzania's treasury is seeking $55.6 million from the sale of a 5-year fixed-rate bond to its citizens and those from East and Southern African trade blocs. The bond on auction on August 10th is the first to be opened to the East African Community and Southern African Development Community blocs, of which Tanzania is a member. The 5-year paper will be auctioned by the Bank of Tanzania at a coupon rate of 8.6%. In a June notice, the central bank said the government had gazetted a new law removing restrictions on the sale of its securities to foreign investors. Nigerian Afropop Keys Daniel is under police custody in Tanzania. The Afrobeat singer-songwriter failed to show up for a paid concert on Sunday night in Dar es Salaam. He is on his Afro Classic World Tour, which sold out in Uganda on Saturday. He was to perform in Tanzania's coastal commercial hub before heading to Rwanda Day Saturday, August 13th. In a viral video on social media, the Nigerian singer and his companions are seen being taken by Tanzanian police officers from Johari Rotana Hotel to a police station. A London museum has announced it has agreed to return to Nigeria artifacts looted in the 19th century from the Kingdom of Benin. The Honeyman Museum said ownership of 72 objects will be transferred to the Nigerian government. Items include 12 brass plaques known as Benin bronze, a brass cockerel, and a key to the king's palace. It follows a request by Nigeria's National Commission for Museums and Monuments in January. In recent years, there has been increased political pressure on European governments and museums to hand back looted artifacts. These include ivory carvings and metal sculptures known as the Benin bronzes. Eve Solomon, chair of the museum, said the evidence is very clear that these objects were acquired through force, and external consultation supported our view that it is both moral and appropriate to return their ownership to Nigeria. Nigeria's National Commission for Museums and Monuments says some of the priceless sculptures will be stored in the National Museum in Benin once it's been expanded, and others will be stored at the museum in Lagos. The British Museum holds the world's largest collection of Benin bronzes. It says it is prevented from permanently returning items by the British Museum Act of 1963 and the National Heritage Act of 1983. Chad's military government has signed a peace deal with more than 40 opposition groups to launch a national reconciliation dialogue. Under the accord signed in the Qatari capital, Doha, today, talks aimed at paving the way for a presidential election that will start on August 20th. With that, we come to the end of tonight's edition.